2 days before my birthday, my mom texted. We took $2,000 from your savings. Your sister deserved a designer bag for graduation. Then she added, You're not materialistic, you'll understand. I smiled, froze the transfer, and reported the withdrawal. At checkout, the card failed. And her phone lit up. Refund reversed, insufficient funds. 2 days before my 25th birthday, I got a text from my mom that didn't even start with a hello. Just straight into it. We took $2,000 from your savings. Your sister deserved a designer bag for graduation. Then a follow-up, like it was supposed to soften the blow. You're not materialistic, you'll understand. That was it. No warning. No request. They didn't even try to pretend it was a loan. They took it like it was theirs to take. Because family. I stared at the screen for a long time. Not even angry at first. Just stunned. Then I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so insanely bold. That account wasn't some random stash. It was emergency money. My savings from working full-time since college. I had plans for it. Maybe grad school. Maybe a down payment. Definitely not a $2,000 handbag for someone who already got a car for her 18th and a paid trip to Cabo for spring break. And she wasn't even my twin. She was younger. Caroline, 21, fresh out of college, obsessed with influencers and constantly talking about how designer pieces hold value. My parents always spoiled her more than me, but this was new. I didn't reply. I logged into my banking app and froze the account. Then I filed a report. Unauthorized withdrawal. I knew exactly what I was doing. I waited until the money hit back into my account, and then I kept waiting. Because I knew they had no idea yet. They assumed I'd just take it. Like always. On Saturday, they invited me to go shopping with them. Said we'd grab lunch after. I played along. We went to the mall, and of course, we ended up in that overpriced boutique with the glass cases and security guards. Caroline was already carrying the bag like it was hers. My mom beamed like they'd done something noble. Like giving her that bag made them heroes. At the counter, the cashier smiled, scanned it, and my mom swiped her card. Declined. She blinked and tried another. Declined again. Then her phone buzzed. I saw the screen from where I stood. Refund reversed, insufficient funds. She looked at my dad. Caroline turned toward me. I didn't flinch. I didn't say a word. Just stood there and waited. We walked out empty-handed. No one said a thing the whole ride home. That night I got a text. We thought you were better than this. Money isn't everything. Your sister deserves to feel special too. No apology. No recognition that they stole from me. That's when something in me snapped. This wasn't just about a bag. This was years of being treated like the backup plan. The dependable one. The one they could take from without asking, because I'd always just eat it. I decided I was done. And if they wanted to act like I was selfish, fine. Let's see how they handled it when I actually stopped helping. This was just the start. After the mall incident, things were quiet. For exactly 5 days. No apologies. No one even tried to explain themselves. Then my dad texted like nothing happened, asking if I could take a look at his laptop because it was acting up again. Like I was still the family ID guy and not the guy they stole $2,000 from. I ignored it. The next day, my mom sent one of those vague texts. We just wanted Caroline to feel celebrated. Maybe we should have talked to you first, but don't let money come between us. No acknowledgement that it was my money. Just vibes and guilt. Then I saw Caroline's Instagram post. Her holding the bag. Big smile. Captioned. Finally got her hard work pays off. Hard work? The only finger she lifted was to send me a passive-aggressive thank you emoji 2 hours after they tried to pay for it with my stolen cash. I guess they found another way to buy it. Maybe a credit card. Maybe my dad sold some of his tech toys. Didn't matter. It was the fact she still posted it like she earned it. And that's when I noticed something else. The comments. Friends hyping her up. Congratulating her. One of them said, "Can't wait to see you in it at the grad gala." Grad gala? That was the first I heard of it. Some formal prom-style event her university throws for graduates and their families. I was never invited. Not even mentioned. I asked her directly, "So when is this gala?" She responded, "Oh, I didn't think you'd want to come. It's more for close family. Close family? I didn't respond. I just sat with that. They took my money. Lied to me. Cut me out of something like I was a distant relative they barely tolerate. And then expected me to still play the role of responsible older brother when it suited them. I decided then that this wasn't going to be one of those quiet grudge things. This wasn't going to be a let's be the bigger person situation. I was going to make them regret it. And I wasn't going to yell or block their numbers. I was going to wait. And hit them where it hurt. It started the next week. My mom texted me asking if I could transfer $300 to help cover a medication for my dad. Said the insurance deductible hadn't reset, and they were tight on cash. I replied, "Yeah, of course. I'll take care of it tonight." I didn't. Next day. "Hey, did you send it?" Me. "Tried to, app froze." "We'll do it tomorrow." 2 days passed. Then, "Your dad's waiting. Can you just send it already?" Me. "Absolutely. Just finishing up work. I'll do it after dinner." Another lie. Sunday rolled around. "William, this isn't funny anymore. We need that money." I finally replied, "I didn't think you were materialistic. You'll understand." Silence. Then the anger started. First, my mom sent a paragraph about how I was being spiteful over something. That's already over. Then my dad tried guilt. How could I treat them this way after all they've done for me? That's when it hit me. They really thought they were the victims here. So I took it up a notch. See, last year, I gave them the old Camry I used to drive before I upgraded. It wasn't in great shape, but it ran fine, and I kept it insured under my name. Just easier that way. Now it wasn't theirs anymore. It was mine. So I showed up one morning with a spare key and drove it off their driveway while they were out. I parked it at my place and took it off the insurance plan. The texts came fast. "Caroline, where's the car?" "Mom, are you insane? That's our only ride." "Dad, you've made your point. Bring it back." I didn't respond to any of them. 3 hours later. "We need it for Caroline's job interview. She's freaking out." That made me laugh. Because now, for the first time, they were being affected. Not me. They begged. They offered to talk things out. My mom even tried calling from a different number when I ignored hers. I didn't budge. They were finally starting to feel what it was like to be treated the way they treated me. And I was just getting started. The car was gone, and I think that's when it really hit them that I wasn't bluffing. That weekend, I didn't hear a word from them, which was unusual. Normally, my mom would be blowing up my phone. Instead, silence. I figured they were regrouping, probably trying to figure out how to fix it without asking me. But Monday morning, I got a text from Caroline. "Congrats. I missed my interview. Hope you're proud." That was it. No explanation. Just pure blame. As if I had personally driven over her dreams. So I replied, "Maybe you can return the bag and buy a bike." She blocked me after that. Then things got louder. Tuesday night, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. It was one of my dad's coworkers. Apparently, my dad had been ranting about me at work, saying I stole their car and left them stranded like a vindictive little brat. I guess he didn't expect someone to call me and say, "Hey man, what's really going on?" I kept it brief. Told him the car's title was in my name, and I wasn't feeling generous lately. He laughed. Said, "Sounds like they messed with the wrong one." Exactly. By Thursday, my mom cracked. She texted me a full page about how I was tearing the family apart, and how I was choosing money and bitterness over love. Said I was becoming someone she didn't recognize. I sent one line back. "That's because you never really knew me. Just what I could give you." She didn't reply. The next week, the requests stopped. The calls stopped. I think they finally realized they had no leverage. Caroline never unblocked me. My dad went back to pretending I didn't exist. My mom tried to be icy and distant instead of emotional. And then came Grandma's birthday. It was one of those big family gatherings where everyone gets together, no matter what. I hadn't planned on going, but then I figured, why not? I wasn't hiding. If anything, I was proud of what I'd done. Proud I didn't fold like I always used to. When I walked into the house, my parents were already there, sitting on the far side of the living room. Neither looked at me. Caroline wasn't there. I asked my aunt where she was. She said she was busy. Went to some cafe with her friends, she said. On our grandmother's birthday. The table was full, everyone talking, laughing, passing plates. And my parents? They sat there like statues. My mom avoided eye contact. My dad acted like I was a neighbor who wandered in by mistake. It was awkward. But then, about halfway through dinner, my grandma stood up. Tapped her glass. I wasn't going to say anything, she said, but it's been bothering me. I heard what happened. The whole table went quiet. She looked directly at my mom and dad. You took his money. Then got mad when he wouldn't give you more. And you let your daughter treat her brother like a stranger over a handbag. A handbag. Shame on you. No one moved. My mom tried to say something, but Grandma raised her hand. Don't. This family has always bent over backward for you. And now, the one person who's never asked for anything finally says no, and you act like he betrayed you? Dead silence. My uncle started laughing. Actually laughing. Then he said, Well, that explains why you've been acting weird all month. I thought you were just moody. The room cracked. Not with tension, with relief. Because everyone had felt it. The weirdness. The passive-aggressive comments. The cold shoulders. But no one knew what it was about until that moment. My parents didn't say a word the rest of the night. And Caroline? She missed the whole thing. Too busy drinking overpriced lattes and pretending she was an influencer. On the drive home, I realized I didn't feel angry anymore. Just done. That was the night I decided to write all of this out. Not because I needed sympathy. But because I know there are people out there who've dealt with the same thing, being that good kid, until you stop giving, and suddenly you're the villain. I was never the villain. They just didn't like that I stopped playing the fool. After Grandma's birthday, things weren't quiet, they were dead. Like something had been buried, and no one wanted to dig it up. My parents didn't text. Caroline disappeared entirely. It was like I'd been quietly exiled, except no one had the guts to say it out loud. And honestly, I didn't miss them. I finally had weekends where my phone wasn't buzzing with requests. No fake. Hope you're well. Messages that ended with, Can you help us out? I got my evenings back. Started sleeping better. Ate out more. Booked that trip to Seattle I'd been putting off. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like I owed anyone anything. But peace doesn't last long in families like mine. Because once the silence stopped being about anger, it turned into desperation. It started with a single text from my mom, 3 weeks after the birthday dinner. Hi. I know things have been hard between us. But we're in a bit of a situation. Just something small. We'd really appreciate it. I ignored it. Next day, a follow-up from my dad. It's just a plumbing thing, $600. Not asking for a gift, just a short-term loan until payday. A loan. From the same people who thought theft was a birthday surprise. I stared at the message for a few minutes, then replied, Sure. I'll send it by Friday. I had no intention of sending anything. Friday came and went. Nothing from me. Saturday morning, another message. Hey, just checking if the transfer went through? Haven't seen anything. Me. Ran into something unexpected. Can do next week. They bought it. Because they wanted to. Because deep down, they still believed I'd crack. That I was still the same William who once used his tax refund to replace Caroline's busted phone without being asked. But I didn't crack. Not this time. A week later, another text. The leak's gotten worse. The whole hallway smells. Please. I left it on read. Then came the guilt card. I just don't understand what we did that was so unforgivable. So I reminded them. You stole from me. You shut me out. And now you're begging again like I'm the one who owes you. I don't. No reply. Not for 2 full days. Then Caroline texted. New number. New tone. You've ruined everything. No hello. No explanation. Just blame. As if I broke something sacred, not the people who raided my savings like it was their spare change jar. So I replied. You ruined it the day you chose a handbag over your brother. Blocked. Instantly. I think that's when they realized the old dynamic was over. The version of me they leaned on, who never said no, who always covered for their screw-ups, that guy was gone. And the new one wasn't playing their game. 2 weeks after that, I saw my uncle again at my cousin's birthday dinner. He pulled me aside and said, "Your parents are telling everyone you abandoned them. That you turned cold for no reason." I asked what he thought. He shrugged. "I told them they made their bed. Your grandma wasn't wrong." He paused, then said something I hadn't expected. "You know, your mom's been like this since we were kids. Always thought she was owed something. Never worked for anything she couldn't manipulate someone else into giving her." I'd never heard him say that before. Never seen that version of him, someone who saw through the performance. And it made one thing really clear: this wasn't a one-time screw-up. This was who they were. And it wasn't going to change. Later that night, I opened my notes app and started writing this out. I didn't plan on posting it at first. Just wanted to put it somewhere so I didn't forget how it all unfolded. But the more I wrote, the more I realized there were probably people out there who needed to hear it. That sometimes cutting off the people closest to you isn't cruel, it's necessary. And no, I haven't talked to them since. They haven't talked to me either. Not even to say goodbye. 2 months passed. I didn't hear a word. Not from Caroline, not from my parents, not even a passive-aggressive group text with a birthday reminder or a forwarded meme. It was radio silence, and I had every intention of keeping it that way. Then, in the middle of a normal Tuesday at work, I got an email. Not a text. An email. Subject: important. Please read. It was from my dad. He wrote 3 short paragraphs. Said they needed my help. Not financially, this time it was legal. Apparently, Caroline had gotten into a small car accident. Nothing serious, but the other driver was pressing for damages. And here's where it gets absurd: they wanted me to speak on her behalf, because I had some connection to the other driver's insurance company, a stretch from a job I worked 2 years ago. No apology. No explanation for the sudden silence. Just, "You're good with words, you know people. Please talk to them for her." I stared at it for 10 minutes. I didn't reply. A day later, another email. Longer this time. From my mom. She said the other driver was being dramatic and greedy, and Caroline was scared she'd get sued. She asked me to just make a few calls and help keep this off her record. Then casually dropped in the middle: "It would mean a lot after everything we've been through." After everything we've been through? Like it was mutual. That night, I got curious and did a little digging. Asked a friend who still worked in insurance to look into the case. Turns out Caroline wasn't just in an accident. She ran a red light, clipped another car, and then left the scene. Not far, just down the block, but enough to trigger a report. The only reason it didn't become a criminal issue was because the other driver followed her and got it all on video. So now they wanted me to smooth it over. I replied to my dad's email. "Did you forget she left the scene? You think I'm going to stick my neck out for someone who wouldn't even invite me to her graduation?" He replied 2 hours later. "So you're really going to let your sister get dragged through court over a mistake?" That was the last straw. I sent one sentence back. "You made your choices. Now live with them." No reply. For a while. Until a week later, when a mutual cousin messaged me and said, "Hey, are you coming to the family cookout next weekend? Everyone's talking about it. Apparently your mom's trying to make peace." I hadn't been invited. So I showed up. No announcement. No warning. Just walked in with a 12-pack of soda and greeted my uncles like nothing had happened. My mom's face when she saw me, priceless. Like she'd been caught in the middle of staging a scene and didn't have time to reset the props. Caroline wasn't there. I figured maybe she was avoiding the whole thing. Until someone let it slip she was upstairs. Hiding. 10 minutes later, my grandma pulled me aside. "I thought you weren't coming." I told her I hadn't been invited. She frowned. "Funny, your mother said you didn't want to come. Said you were still processing things." That's when it hit me, they were rewriting the story. Telling the whole family I was distancing myself. That I was bitter. That they tried to make things right, but I was too proud to let it go. I was done. I walked into the kitchen, waited for everyone to gather around the grill, and told the entire story. Start to finish. About the money. The prom. The lies. The bag. The revenge. The car. The fake accident story. The email. People were quiet. Then my uncle, the same one from Grandma's birthday, shook his head and said, "Jesus. And here I thought you were just being cold for no reason. Another cousin added. Your mom told me you offered the money. Said you wanted Caroline to feel celebrated. I just said, not even close. By the end of the night, people were looking at my parents differently. Like they were finally seeing them without the decades of goodwill and excuses. And Caroline? Never came downstairs. Later, someone said she left through the back when she heard I was telling the story. Of course she did. They wanted to erase what happened. Twist it into something that made them look good. But I wasn't going to let them. This wasn't revenge anymore. It was just truth. And I was finally free to tell it. After the cookout, there wasn't some big explosion. No screaming match, no family group chat meltdown. It was worse than that. It was empty. They went quiet. Fully, completely, like someone pulled the plug on a show that ran too many seasons. No texts, no backhanded voicemails, no surprise visits. Nothing. And I left it that way. A few cousins reached out afterward, mostly to say things like, did all that really happen? Or, your mom's been acting like the victim for months. I just told them the same thing I told everyone that night. They used me, and when I pushed back, they turned on me. Simple. My uncle, the one who had laughed when Grandma called them out, told me Caroline went silent for days after the cookout. Didn't answer calls, didn't post anything, didn't even come downstairs when people visited. My guess? She realized the family didn't buy her version of things anymore. The golden child routine cracked, and there was no script for what came next. And then, randomly one afternoon, I got a voicemail from my dad. He didn't sound angry. He didn't even sound sad. He just sounded tired. William, I guess this is where it ends. I don't know what else to say. You've made your decision. We'll stop reaching out. If you ever change your mind, you know where we are. Click. No apology. No ownership. Just the quiet shuffle of someone backing out of a room they lit on fire. I didn't call back. I didn't want to. Instead, I got on with my life. Really got on with it. I started spending more time with people who didn't treat me like a tool with a heartbeat. Went hiking more. Took a solo trip to Portland. Started dating someone who didn't flinch when I said I wasn't close to my family. And that Camry? Still parked in my driveway. Tires a little worn, one wiper blade snapped. But I started up once a week, just to keep it breathing. Not because I plan to drive it again, but because it reminds me I made a choice. I took something back that was mine. About a month ago, Grandma called. Invited me to dinner, just her. No setups, no family drama. She made ribs and cornbread and spent half the evening talking about her garden. Then, out of nowhere, she looked at me and said, "You know, I'm proud of you. Took you long enough." I laughed. "Proud of what?" She shrugged. "Of finally saying no. They've walked over you since you were a kid. But not anymore. And they hate that. I don't know why, but that hit harder than anything else. I've been fine since. Better than fine. I don't carry that guilt anymore, that voice in my head whispering, but they're your family. Because family doesn't take from you and then ask for more. Family doesn't punish you for drawing boundaries. And the funniest part? They still act like I abandoned them. But I didn't walk away. They pushed. I just made sure the door locked behind me. That's how it ended. No closure. No make-up dinner. Just silence. And the freedom that comes with it. So yeah? If you're reading this wondering if it's okay to cut people off when they've pushed too far, it is. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is nothing at all. Just leave. And let them deal with the echo.